The last two northern white rhinos on Earth appeared mournful during a memorial held for the final male of their kind as the species stands on the brink of extinction. Sudan, 45, died last month after suffering from a degenerative muscle and bone condition linked to age which left him unable to stand up. Sudan's demise should spell the end of his subspecies, but scientists have gathered genetic material and hope to develop IVF techniques to produce more white rhinos. He is survived by the last two females of his species, his 27-year-old daughter Najin and 17-year-old granddaughter Fatu. The pair appeared sad when they attended a memorial service for Sudan, whose death has led a Kenyan government official to declare anyone caught possessing ivory should be sentenced to life in prison. Ivory belongs to elephants and rhinos, said Najib Balala, Kenya's tourism minister, during a memorial service held at Ol Pejeta Conservancy on Saturday for Sudan. Wildlife officials at Ol Pejeta, about 250 kilometers (155 miles) north of Nairobi, put down the rhino on March 19 because of rapid deterioration in his health. The only hope for preserving their species is through in vitro fertilization using their eggs and stored semen, according to Ol Pejeta. Thousands of southern white rhinos still roam sub-Saharan Africa, but decades of rampant poaching have drastically cut the number of northern whites. Poachers could sell northern white rhino horns for $50,000 per kilo, making them more valuable than gold. Kenya had 20,000 rhinos in the 1970s, falling to 400 in the 1990s. It now has 650, almost all of them black rhinos. How scientists hope to save the northern white rhino using IVF, stem cells, and Sudan's DNA scientists are hoping to use IVF and stem cell techniques developed for humans to resurrect the northern white rhino, but the process is fraught with challenges. While the death of Sudan marks a symbolic turning point in the fight to save the northern white rhino, in fact the survival of the species has been entirely reliant on untested IVF techniques for years. It was hoped that Sudan, his daughter Najin and granddaughter Patu might be able to produce offspring when they were moved to Kenya in 2009, but their close genetic relationship rendered them infertile. Since at least 2015, scientists have been working with IVF and stem cell techniques in the hopes of being able to create a viable northern white rhino embryo, according to a GoFundMe page for the project. Researchers in Berlin and San Diego are using DNA samples collected from a dozen northern whites, including Sudan, and trying to apply techniques developed for humans to the animal. If a viable embryo can be created, it would then have to be implanted into the womb of a southern white rhino, since Majin and Patu will likely be dead before the technique is perfected. While the southern white rhino would be responsible for giving birth to the baby, because the infant's genetic material came solely from northern whites, it would be a member of that species. However, as Save the Rhino points out, the process is fraught with difficulty and has a low chance of success. In the last 15 years, just 10 rhino births have resulted from artificial insemination, and only 2 embryos have ever been created, one of which divided into 2 cells before perishing, and the other one into 3. For the northern white rhino to be genetically viable, a minimum of 20 healthy individuals must be born, meaning the whole process must be successfully completed 20 times to avoid inbreeding. Then, it would be necessary to find a suitable habitat for them, since their old habitat has largely been destroyed and led the species to the brink of extinction in the first place. We are going to change our laws so that anyone caught with ivory will be jailed for life, Balala said. Kenya introduced tough wildlife protection laws in 2013 in an attempt to stop highly lucrative ivory smuggling, mainly to Asia, which has led to the slaughter of thousands of rare and endangered animals. Those found guilty of ivory trafficking already face a life sentence. But the minimum sentence for possessing it is just 5 years. After a court sentenced a Kenyan man to 20 years in jail for possessing ivory, the top prosecutors sought for the punishment to be changed to a life sentence. The convicted man's appeal is still in the courts. The slaughter of endangered animals in Africa for profit continues, but there is ever greater awareness of the bloody cost of ivory and more international action to stop the trade. In a move with major implications for the illegal wildlife trade from Africa, China banned ivory sales in December.